Hi, I'm Cara Wolf, Squarespace SEO expert and website designer and owner of Websites by Cara. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to use Google Analytics to analyze what traffic sources and channels are driving conversions on your website. If you don't already have Google Analytics installed and set up on your Squarespace site, I'll include a link below where I show you how to set that up. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm in my Google Analytics account. If you've already set this up on Squarespace, you have to come directly into Google Analytics to view this data. So you're going to come to analytics.google.com. It's going to prompt you to sign in with your Google account. Make sure you sign in with the same Google account you used to set this up. Now, for this particular video, I'm just going to go through one particular report that I find really helpful for trying to figure out where traffic is coming from so that you can start to analyze your marketing strategy and understand what's driving traffic and conversions and what's not. You can take the things that are working and scale it, or you can take the things that aren't working and use that to diversify your channels. Now, Google Analytics is a bit of a beast. It's even a beast to say that. So if you're just getting started with Google Analytics, start with this one report and then just like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll be posting more videos that gets a little bit more in depth in this type of stuff. So we're in Google Analytics. I have my site pulled up here. When you log in, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have your dashboard. Now it does give you some nice little analytics right here on the front. Let me go ahead and make that smaller so you can see. I'm going to direct you straight to one particular report that I find helpful. So we're going to get right into it. On the left-hand menu, when I hover over this left-hand menu, I get a few options. For today, I'm going to go ahead and click Reports. And I'm going to go ahead and in my Google Analytics, I have something called Life Cycle, and under Acquisition, what we're looking for is traffic acquisition. And if you can't find this, you can always go up into the search thingy. That's the technical term in case nobody knew. Go into the search thingy and type in traffic acquisition report and it'll bring it up. But we can also access that from the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this traffic acquisition report. Now this is going to go ahead and bring up a default view. And this default view has some information, but I'm going to give you a few things that you can do to customize to get a little bit more out of it. So the first thing you want to do is come up to the right-hand corner and look at the date. If you want to get a sense of how your website's performing in a bigger scope, especially if your website doesn't have a lot of traffic, the more data we have, the better decisions we can make. I would recommend switching from 28 days to the last 90 days. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for my site right now. And this can be helpful if you have a smaller site, which probably most of you watching this do. Now, the other thing you can do is if you're coming in here on a regular basis and you just want to see how the data in here compares from this month to last month or this quarter to last quarter, you also have the option of clicking this date, again, date thingy. We'll click that and you can toggle this little compare option and it will compare that period to the previous period. For now, I'm going to go ahead and leave it set at 90 days. I'm not going to do a comparison because I just want to keep this really clean. But after you go through this tutorial, you can just come in here and toggle on the comparison and look at the same data from this period to the last period. So I have the last 90 days selected. I'm going to click Apply. Now we're going to come down here. So the default view, it's right off the top. It's showing us just kind of a snapshot of direct traffic, organic traffic, referral traffic. I'm going to take it a step further and show you how to get a little bit more details because this isn't really that helpful. It's maybe a little bit helpful to kind of see the breakdown of direct versus organic, but it's important to note that two things. One is Google Analytics is not going to show you 100% of the information on your website. This is a benchmark. We just want to see where is it at now and how much can we grow it. So it's not an exact view. It's not necessarily filtering out bot traffic. It's not necessarily showing you every single click that happens on your website because we sometimes have cookie consent banners and all kinds of things. But again, we're taking a snapshot, we're taking a baseline, and we're going to grow it. So in case you don't find this particularly helpful, which I don't, you're going to come up to this guy right here and click on this arrow, and it's going to give you a drop down. So instead of sorting by session primary channel, we're going to sort by session source medium. And this is one of my favorites, and you'll see why in a minute. So now we get to see a little bit more detailed view. So I've got organic, I've got Google, I've got LinkedIn, I've got ChatGPT. So this is much more helpful, I think. And all we've done so far is really just toggle on, we changed the date and then we toggled on to session source medium. So that's a pretty quick fix. Now let me walk you through what some of this means. So one thing I would like to bring to your attention is it's only showing, by default, it's only going to show 10 rows. And I've gotten into this before and I'm like, well, where's the rest, right? Because you're kind of expecting some choices down here. It's at top. So instead of showing 10 rows, you can see this is row 1 of 10 of 76. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, please show me 100. I want to see everything. So right off the bat, I do recommend filtering the view so that you see everything all at once, and then you can go down as far as you want. All right, now we've got like a nice long list to go with. Very exciting. So let's walk you through what some of this means and more importantly, what to do with it. I'm going to start by just kind of taking a bird's eye view here. So we've got sessions and engagement rate, average time spent on engagement, event count. What I would like to bring your attention to is just total number of sessions. So we can just kind of get a view, an idea of where's the bulk of traffic and sessions coming from. So sessions. The next thing I'd like to bring your attention to is average engagement time. And so you can see right off the bat, people that came to me from ChatGPT were way more engaged with my site than even Google, right? And this is, although Google's not terrible, I mean, spending a whole minute on your website's pretty good. So direct was 8 seconds, and this is average, right? Google was decent. That was a minute. LinkedIn, people coming there, they're spending some time, not a lot, but the people coming from ChatGPT, this is really exciting. I've had a lot of ChatGPT traffic, but it's not surprising because people who are engaged with ChatGPT have already literally had a conversation. And if I'm showing up in ChatGPT, they've already gone back and forth with Chat, and then Chat says, hey, let me recommend someone to you. So it's almost like Chat's doing some of your sales work for you. So if you can show up in these LLMs right when people are at the point where they already know they need to hire someone, and then Chat says, well, here's who I recommend, for better or for worse, people are going to take that pretty seriously. So you can see that the people that came in from Chat on my website have spent a decent amount of time. And these are the things we're looking for. What channels are driving sessions, right? What channels are driving traffic? And then which ones of those are driving quality traffic, driving people that are actually ready to buy, people that are lower down in the buyer funnel, they got their credit cards out. And then I'm going to take it one step further and key events. So don't look at event count or events per session because this can be, page views and it's just not that helpful. Key events, if you have taken a moment to set up Tag Manager with your website, you can use, so Tag Manager is another tool that's free through Google, and it allows you to set certain things as an event. So I went in and I said, if someone clicks on an email link, if they click on a telephone link, if they submit a form submission, if they opt into my email list via one of my freebies, if they click on the link that goes to my SEO lab, these are things that drive revenue in my business, and I've set them up as key events. And I'll include a video below of how to set up Tag Manager. But if you've taken the time to do this, so I already know that these key events that are being marked are relevant. I know what they are. It's one of those top 5 things. It's one of those 5 things that I just mentioned. If you haven't set these up, this probably isn't going to be helpful. You can just use the number of sessions and the engagement rate to figure out what traffic, what channels and sources are driving engagement and revenue to your business. If you have set up key events, it just takes this a step further. So what I'd like to do now is walk you through another way to do this. So we already have a general snapshot here, and this is really helpful. I can figure out what's working, put more energy into that, figure out what's not working, make a strategy change. Now you can use these arrows up here to sort by the least to most or most to least. So right now you can see this has an arrow right here. There's no arrow here, but there's an arrow here. This is currently being sorted by the number of sessions from highest to lowest. So I can see which channels, so here are my top 10. Here are the top 10 channels and traffic sources that are driving number of sessions to my site. And you can see direct is a lot, Google is next, LinkedIn's not too bad, ChatGPT, Facebook, you can kind of see the top ones here. Now, maybe I want to see which of these channels are driving the most engagement, Okay, so if people are spending a chunk of time on my site, they're more likely to actually take action. If someone's spending more time on my site, they're probably a better match for search intent. It means that particular channel is sending people that are probably a decent fit for my business because they're spending a bit of time. So these are channels that are, I would consider, already working. Whereas the channels that have less engagement time, that intent is maybe not quite matching, and there's something to address there in your strategy. So I'm going to go ahead and click this arrow, and I'm going to sort by the most amount of engagement time. This is just cracking me up. I'll explain why in a minute. Most amount of engagement time to least. So these are the channels that I would consider to be the most successful at this moment because they're sending people that are spending a lot of time on my site. So the reason I'm cracking up is because Diane, she's going to watch this video. She's another Squarespace designer, and she's got a directory and, did some backlinking. I'm in her blog, in her directory blog, and her website didn't necessarily bring the most amount of referrals, but the one person that Google Analytics tracked that came to my website spent a ton of time. So, but I'm not surprised because they were on a fellow Squarespace designer site. They were already a match. They got to her blog. I was listed there as a recommendation. They get to my site. I mean, this makes sense, right? So just kind of coming down here, we've got Durango.org. That's local. I'm not surprised. That's a very high. I know that my search intent, the match there is very high because I'm a local business, and someone's searching locally and they come to a local business, they are already a very warm lead, and that's a really good match. And then we've got some other stuff here. So YouTube makes me really happy because I have been putting more time into YouTube. Thus, you are watching this video. And the people coming from my YouTube channel are spending a decent amount of time on my website. So that says, yes, Cara, keep doing YouTube. YouTube, we know this, right? We know that YouTube tends to bring people that are already warm leads because they've literally been watching you talk. You watch this video, you go to my website, you're probably going to spend a bunch of time. So we know video converts. This is not rocket science at all. But let's just see what's driving the least amount of engagement. Let's see what's not doing well. Pinterest, no surprise there. I haven't touched my Pinterest account in at least a year, maybe two. We're not going to count Calendly. That's not quite right because I just use that for booking. We're going to skip over that. Some random Google stuff. These are all like spammy sites. This is a client site where I had my website link in the footer. Someone clicked that, and obviously that was a mistake. They spent 1 second on my site. So yeah, it's kind of, it's interesting. If we could get more into the middle, I would say the middle, let's see, we get, maybe under 1 minute is where we can have some improvement, but enough interest to make it worth our time. So let's kind of get into like the 40 seconds, 50 seconds. Okay. So for example, we've got Reddit in here, LinkedIn in here, my other music website, some other design sites, some other Squarespace users. So this is where, like Reddit and LinkedIn, or Instagram, right? I think I posted once on Instagram, so it's not doing so bad considering. So here are some places where I could diversify. So these aren't necessarily channels that are driving the main conversions right now, but Instagram and LinkedIn and Reddit, I am getting, this is not bad, 40 seconds, average 50 seconds. So these are channels where if I actually put some more effort into them, where my head goes with this is it's not just about posting there more, because I do post on LinkedIn a lot, but if people from LinkedIn are spending 40 seconds, the next thing in my head is what I'm posting aligned with what I'm selling on my website? Because it's possible if there's a mismatch there, that's why people are spending 40 seconds instead of a minute and a half. So one strategy I might take, and I am actually doing this to some extent, is to better align what I'm sharing on LinkedIn with what's on my website. And so as I get that more aligned over the next few months, which is on my to-do list, one of the things I'll come back in here and check is, hey, maybe, over the last 3 months or this period compared to last period, has the engagement rate on LinkedIn gone up? Because in theory, if I'm putting that effort in, I want to see a result. I want to see that people are coming from LinkedIn and spending more than 40 seconds on my site, because then the effort and time that I put into that is then maybe worth something. Now I'm going to do this once more. I'm going to go over to key events. So again, if you haven't set up key events, this may not be relevant to you, but if you take the time to set up Tag Manager and key events, this can get pretty exciting. So I am searching by the most amount of key events to the least. So again, these are channels, the top channels and traffic sources that are driving, in theory, real revenue in my business. These are things that have driven email clicks, telephone clicks, form submissions. So what I like is that LinkedIn actually is, in terms of key events, it's in the top 10. So that's kind of nice. That means I'm maybe not as far off as I think. And if I could get people to spend a little more time on my site, well, maybe they don't need to spend more time on my site. But it's definitely a channel that I'm doing okay with and want to push more, because I think there's room for improvement there. I like that Clutch. This is also interesting. So I've gotten some engagement, key events from Clutch, but again, I'm not surprised because Clutch is very well trusted. And when you ask someone to put a review on there, it's very intense. It's a very detailed review. And so it wouldn't surprise me that people go on Clutch, they read the reviews on there, and they're already a pretty warm lead, because it's not like Google My Business. The reviews on there are hefty. So this doesn't really surprise me. But it is interesting to kind of look and be like, okay, total of key events on Google, that's great. Total on ChatGPT. Now, what's interesting about this is sometimes you'll see like multiple ChatGPTs and multiple Googles. And this is where we can get into some custom filtering and just filter down and get more specific and see all the ChatGPTs and see all the Googles and get more we could create a custom filter where we have this exact view, but it's just ChatGPT or it's just Google, so we can see everything all at once, because right now it's a little spread out. If I went down, it's going to show me more ChatGPTs and more Googles, and things get kind of off. And again, in Google Analytics, Google Analytics leaves a lot of mystery for us as users. They do not make it very easy for us to understand exactly what they're showing, so we have to kind of just speculate, and custom filters are the next step for that. So we're going to leave it here today. I feel like this is a really great place for getting started. If you have Google Analytics installed and you just want to get a sense of what traffic sources and channels are driving engagement and conversions on your site, this is a great way to get started. There's so much more we can do. We can do custom filters. We can get into all kinds of other reports and buyer journey maps and all kinds of things. But I'm going to stop here because this is a great way to get started. And you can see, even from the information that I went through today, there are things that I can do to improve my own strategies and scale the things that are working, fill in some gaps like on LinkedIn, and make some real change. And then come back and review these same analytics and see if some of these data points don't improve. As mentioned before, if this video was helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. I'll be posting more videos like this, and look below in the description for links to all the good stuff.